我答咗尾嗰兩條先好嘛？琴晚咧其實係刊咗憲㗎啦，有一個英文嘅版本。咁咧就我哋係應該係用翻，其實然之後咧，新華社應該係7月1號一早咧，亦都有一個版本係出咗嚟嘅英文版本。咁但係我都要強調，呢一個係一個全國性法律，係全國人大常委制定嘅一個全國性法律。咁所以嘅法定嘅語文當然就係中文，係一個主體嘅文件。咁所以呢一個係好重要啦。咁至於頭先問到嘅頭先嘅第2條咧，我哋就唔會就具體嘅案件去作任何嘅評論。咁至於其他你講話有啲咩詞語係點樣嘅話咧，好難喺處一概而論嘅。咁所以我哋咧就呢度亦都唔就住嗰啲字去講。咁但係喺個條例嗰度咧，大家去睇下國安法個條文咧，其實好清楚咧，佢係即係嗰個重點下，我幾個重點嘅字咧，佢係組織、策劃、實施或者參與實施旨在分裂國家嘅行為。咁個旨在嘅意思即係個目的就係咁樣。咁所以咧，我哋就呢一點係大家要清楚嘅。咁當然啦，如果你個目的唔係去搞事嘅話，我都係鼓勵大家就唔好以身試法，唔好去試下咁樣有冇事，無謂去做一啲咁樣嘅行為。
喺警方行使權力嘅時候咧，佢都要按住法律嘅規章去做嘅。根據警隊條例裏邊咧，如果警務人員喺調查刑事案件嘅時候咧，佢認為去取一啲樣本，而對調查案件裏邊咧係有幫助，令到證據方面可以證明到某一啲罪行咧，佢係可以行使呢個權力嘅。咁警務人員會按住實際嘅情況、案件嘅內容咧，去決定是否行使呢個權力嘅。
外籍法官，想問下咧，琴日已經有法官就話咧，已經受到行政長官嘅委任啦，就做處理國安法案件咁樣嘅。咁我想問現階段係咪呢啲法官都已經埋晒班咧？咁另外如果係嘅話啦，係咪當中啲法官有冇外籍法官咧？因為之前其實個法例都冇排除外籍法官㗎嘛。可唔可以講下？另外就想再問翻參選權啦，即係國安法就列明咧罪成就喪失咗參選權啦，但係冇講期限嘅。咁之前節目都有提到咧，會跟住嗰個法例去操作。可唔可以講多少少？會唔會好似基委會委員陳宏毅咁樣提議啦，去修訂嗰個選舉條例咧？
喺嗰個法官嘅指定嗰度咧，第44條國安法第44條係寫咗相關要做嘅嘢。咁我哋嘅理解咧，都係有部分嘅法官咧係會已經係被指定咗，咁亦都可以開始相關嘅工作。咁呢一個呢，就係個情況係咁樣。咁喺嗰個條文裏邊呢，其實係冇就住具體好清楚係點樣去指定。咁但係最重要嘅呢，就係行政長官去指定嘅時候呢，佢係會佢係可以啦去考慮相關嘅情況，亦都係可以徵詢CJ 同埋國家安全委員會嘅。咁呢兩點喺個條文嗰度寫得好清楚，咁所以我哋喺嗰個指定嗰度就係咁樣去回應。第二個係 選舉 OK， 35條嗰度呢，其實係寫咗呢，就係當喺法庭係判定咗個刑罪之後呢，佢就係會喪失佢嗰個相關嘅選舉嘅資格嘅。咁呢個喺個法律嗰度係咁樣寫。咁的而且確喺個法律條文呢，就冇具體寫到係個時間應該係點樣。咁所以我亦都頭先講或者之前都講過呢，其實呢可以被視為係一個終身喪失資格嘅一個情況。咁至於有冇其他立法嘅嘢可以做呢？可能係要相關嘅政策局去決定先得。
Is it appropriate for the government to say that the protest slogan "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times" violates the national security law before the courts come to a decision on the matter? Would that give people the impression that the government is trying to give pressure on the courts in reaching the judgment about such matters? And also, secondly, Article 9 of the law says that the SAR government should strengthen superficial matters such as national security, including those to schools, universities, and the media and the internet. So does the government have any concrete plans to implement this law? For example, would the government set up a firewall to block internet sites that may be in violation of the national security law? And also thirdly, could you clarify whether election candidates who have chanted the protest slogan "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times" before will be disqualified from the upcoming legislative elections?
Right. The first question relates to the particular phrases that you have mentioned. Now, in relation to that, government may have a position that it takes. However, when it comes to the criminal offense that is being charged, ultimately it will be a matter for the court to make a decision as to whether the overall acts, not just the words, but also the acts of the particular defendant, amount to an offense under the relevant sections of the national security law. So I think that is a very important thing to bear in mind, that ultimately it's the court to look at whether a particular defendant, not just the words, but the overall acts in context, with intent to be looked into to decide whether the crime is committed. So that's the first question. And I think also in relation to your last question, also relating to the words that is being used, I think it is a matter that one must separate from the national security law, because the national security law is concerned with acts that is going to endanger national security. It's not concerned with other matters. So when those acts the election is a separate matter that is governed by another legislation that has been enacted in Hong Kong. And insofar as the decision of the returning officer is concerned, it will have to make a decision as to whether the particular candidate is genuinely in support of, I can't remember the exact words, but the intent is genuinely to support the basic law when they stand for election. And of course, there are laws and cases that have explicitly and clearly dealt with how that is to be assessed. And insofar as the decision of the returning officer is concerned, he or she will have to look at the relevant evidence of the particular candidate and, where necessary, to ask questions in order to come to a decision based on law and evidence. Okay, thank you.
Any plans to implement the
Oh yes, can I answer that last question? I forgot. Article 9, and that of course is important. Now, we are still in the early days for a start. Secondly, as I've mentioned just now, I think it's important with the media here that a proper discharge of your duties fairly and objectively in reporting news that have happened cannot possibly cause you into the remit of violating the articles in the national security law. Because in the national security law, there is a very clear requirement of the intent. So if you are objectively, dutifully, and professionally reporting the news, there is nothing that is affecting your duties now. Thank you very much.